So, I'd like to formally stop sharing my screen. There you go, and introduce our lovely panelists. So I will spotlight. How do I? Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, I stopped your video.
You can start my video.
Sorry. That's such a bitchy thing to do. I meant to spotlight, not stop. There you go.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so I'd like to introduce, it's my pleasure to introduce Joanne Kam, who is Malaysia's Queen of Comedy, and spanning a career of more than 20 years in the industry, guys. Starting at the Boom Boom Room, Singapore and Malaysia, she has graced international stages for Fringe World, Adelaide Fringe, and Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Okay, that's Joanne, whose video I accidentally.
It's okay. We all learn. We all learn.
Thank you. Thank you. And our next and lovely, lovely panelist. Okay, I didn't stop it this time, right?
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
There you go. All right, we have Mistress Eva Oh, and she is an international professional and lifestyle dominatrix of British Asian descent. Her professional career has spanned the industries of strategic development, ethnographic research, sustainable design, social work, production, and performance art. What a mouthful. As a BDSM trainer, she's the creator of the world's first BDSM slave training platform, youwillpleaseme.com, right there in her video. Okay, there you go. And as for me, okay, where do we begin? I might stop my own. Okay, where do I begin to explain myself? Okay, I'm a performance style dominatrix specializing in rope bondage, and I am the Philippines' first native international burlesque performer. Yay, naked for a living, ladies and gentlemen. These are your three panelists. Okay, how do I cancel this? There you go. Okay, so what did I do? Okay, so let's begin. Let's formally begin this panel with the question. I'll start off, okay? So, how do Asians perceive power? And this goes for anyone in the panel. Anyone can answer.
I can answer first. I think
Yes.
Asians, a lot of it is control. It doesn't mean that, I think with power, a lot of it is about controlling the whereabouts of the person that you are connected with. That's a form of power. And I see this regularly in Asian society. We were just talking about it. My girlfriend, who is very high up in the in her career, and she was talking about how she has to give face to her husband. And because she's in a job where she's a director of marketing, so sometimes when they go out for dinner, and there was one night she said she was not ordering her husband around, but just telling him where to sit. And after they got home, he was a little bit put off, and he said, "Oh, you shouldn't, point to where I should be sitting. I can sit on my own." So I think with Asian mentality, I know it's sickening because you think with the hashtag, I mean, you think that we have progressed, but there are still dogma attitude like that in Asia, especially if your partner is also Asian, that they put this on you kind of like, you know, unassumingly, but obviously.
What do you think is the underlying reason
Control.
for that control,
It's,
the
it's
desire for
power.
control?
It's so that that his wife is not overpowering him. And that's why with women like us, like we don't conform. No one's going to tell me that I'm not allowed to ask him to direct him to where he sits in the restaurant. There'll be grounds for divorce in my eyes.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Sorry, did I went too heavy there in the first place?
Mm,
Not so much. Oh, all good in the hood. I guess also in line with that, it also has a lot to do with tradition, right?
Of course.
Yes, tradition. On breaking the rules of tradition and gender roles, though, I think Mistress Eva has something to say about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my connection will be stable for this one because what I just heard from Joanne was a story about how the husband felt that his hierarchy was not respected. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you followed on with a question about whether gender roles are a part of that.
Yeah. Gender roles, tradition, and control. Yes.
Control. I think the way that power is utilized can definitely help to wield things such as control. I think within Asia, you have a predominant male bias in terms of the way that the genders are formed in a hierarchy. And I think in general, there is a very strong sense of hierarchy in Asia when it comes to understanding who should be given the power or at least be given the illusion of power, such as going out to dinner with your husband. Yeah, whereas maybe at the home it may not necessarily be the case, but there are societal systems that definitely put that too much to the forward, which is where female dominance comes in. The culture of femdom.
And
Yeah.
that's why we have you girls.
Yeah. More about, tell us more about
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
Eva.
no, it's definitely more about femdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, please.
I might have to log out and back in again. But if you can
Yeah.
hear me, so femdom, when I was younger, I always had this very similar personality and very similar ways of interacting with the world. But growing up in Asia, growing up around Asian cultures, especially as a woman, you learn to kind of roll back on that and not say what you're thinking immediately, and kind of how you have to be very underhandedly coercive about a situation as opposed to being assertive. And when somebody finally said the word dominatrix to me, I didn't think about it at first, but eventually I moved towards it. And when I finally stepped into the whole concept of it, it started to make me realize that I was allowed to have a voice and that there was actually a group of people who were interested in me having that first say, which is the culture or the kink that is called female domination. Mm, yeah.
Super duper lovely. Turning the tables. Then, if you need to log out and log
Yeah,
back in,
I'm gonna do
Eva,
that.
yeah, yeah, please do. Thank you so much. And I guess more on that with Joanne. How how are you able to experience this sort of like turning the tables around in your line of work?
So I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm not a dominatrix per se, although I've always wanted to find out more about how to become that. But even on my journey as a stand-up comedian, because from the age of 19 on stage, I've been talking about sex. Like I've been talking about sex before I was even de-virginized. Does that even make sense? You know? So because of that as well, I needed to create this magnitude of a character on stage that was very bitchy, very loud, very domineering, that will not, succumb to all these male and female interpretations of what a woman should be or woman should be allowed to say. So I crossed that barrier earlier on during my career, and I guess that image and persona kind of like stuck on until now, and also I speak my mind, not only on stage but off stage as well. So I think that part of me kind of like went into an area where a lot of people then realize that, okay, she's not going to like kowtow to anyone or any guy or any situation, I take charge. So I guess it was slowly built up in my career, and it kind of like the persona just takes over my character as well. So the real Joanne may not be as loud or as fierce as the stage, but somehow after performing for almost 20 over years, it's also become a part of me. So in that sense, that's how I slowly push the boundaries in not only my career but also for gender as well.
So this, the Joe Cam that we see right now is more of an extension, right?
It's an extension, but it's also part of me. And I think a lot of women or even men have 2 to 3 sides to their own character, you know?
Yeah, we're three-dimensional, definitely. I guess my next question is on a. I hope it's a bit more lighthearted. What's the worst? What's the worst thing that ever happened to you because you chose to turn the tables around? And this goes for Eva as well. What's the worst thing that ever happened?
Mm. The worst thing that ever happened was uh, okay, relationships sometimes it's a little bit hard for me. The last time when I had an argument about my persona, my ex kind of told me like, you always have to top me. So I know that stink a lot, but it remained with me. And I guess for me, it's like if everything you see about my life is me trying to top you, then you're obviously not the person for me anyway. And it boils back to initially when I gave the example of my friend who's the marketing director and her husband. So so in that, I'm not going to conform for anyone who feels that everything I do, I seem to be topping him just because he doesn't have his own confidence to build on. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It's also got a lot to do with confidence and how
Mhm.
society fails to shape like an honest and sincere kind of confidence, especially for the males, though. They have such a strange sense of it. My next question goes to Mistress Eva. What is it about topping? In relation to
Talking
Joanne,
about
that,
topping.
yeah, what is so appealing about topping?
Hmm. Well, I guess the thing is that for me, it's quite a natural part of who I am. And so for me, it's to be able to speak in a way, to act in a way that for me is very natural, that I have for a large part of my life kind of scaled back on. So I guess it's very liberating. So in my case, it's extremely liberating. Also, it's for my personality type to get exactly what I want, to be able to communicate very clearly and to get very close to what I want is very satisfying. I don't know, just little pleasures such as this. Yeah,
Or big.
it's fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun when it suits you, for sure. Yeah.
That's right, actually. So with the three of us, what I noticed with the three of us, it it seems to be the same answer. It's just natural, right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. It just feels natural. I guess I want to ask the audience members also. How do you identify as? Do you identify as the top, the bottom, or maybe somewhere in between? And why? This is all in relation to power. Power and sex and money even. Okay, I have a question also from the audience while you guys are trying to type in your answers. Since we were talking about money in the panel, can I ask Joyen and Joe Cam why they have PayPal links in their Zoom name? Does this work? Do people on Zoom send you money spontaneously? Do you want to answer first, Joe Cam, or should I?
I think people should just send me money whether I'm on Zoom or whether I'm not on Zoom. Why not? You know, I
I
have
love you,
gotten
baby.
I have gotten money on Zoom. We did a comedy show in on Zoom in Singapore, a game show, and this is not even with my breast sticking out. Like now, this is effort, people. This effort, yeah, and they gave me money, and I'm in Malaysia, so whatever you give in Singapore dollars, it's times three. Okay, so yeah, that's why I'm putting my PayPal name in it.
Mm,
Ah, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Yan Yan. This is like the meta. This is the what do you call this? The 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 actuation of this panel.
Mm, mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sex, money, and power. Boom, right here.
Yes, correct. Send us money. People tells me to have another channel where I just wear my bra and just eat Asian food dripping on my breast. You
Goomba
know?
cat. Is that what it's
Yeah,
called? Yeah.
that's what my male friends are asking me to do. That, hey, Joanne, another thing we can make money on. Why don't you eat chili crab? You eat the Singapore chili crab, then you drip lah. You drip on your tete like that. Then you lick. Don't worry, we collect the money for you. We only take
As
10%.
if collect direct, please.
Yeah, I
I will
like
pay
collect
you
direct.
directly,
Yeah.
and I will
And,
be in
and
that
you know
chat.
what's funny? I told this to my other comedians, female comics, right, in India who's not doing anything right now, and another Japanese comic, and they're like, can we get involved in this too? They're like, yeah, I don't mind wearing bra and eating like curry and spreading it all over, online. So yeah, if there is a need for that, yeah, I will have that channel up soon.
That's actually really hot. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's so sexy. I mean, we'd pay to see that. Can you do
Yeah.
it now? I'm
I,
kidding.
I I think at the back of your mind you'll be like, oh my god, do you know how much this bra costs? Now I have to, all this chili crab gravy is all over my bra. Is it going to come off? Am I going to be smelling crabs for the rest of my life every time I wear this bra?
You can
That
sell
would
the
Good
be
luck.
bra.
that would be one of my thoughts. Hey, if you guys want to buy bras that have already been soiled with food and my sweat, PayPal,
Bing, bing, bing.
PayPal.
Okay. Thank you very much for that yummy, yummy conversation, Joanne. So now we have another question. Looks,
Mm-mm.
you've got audience members applauding.
See, I will set it up soon, and we will all eat like Joyen in Philippines can eat like pork adobo and just drip.
That's so fucking messy.
I know it's messy. That's what they want. No one wants to see you eat like non-messy stuff. They want
Like
you to be like
pancakes.
messy. Yeah, they want you to be dirty, right? The dirtier the food, the better.
They love it. Speaking of dirty and eating, what a segue. We have a question from Janet Chui. Did I pronounce it right? Okay, from the audience. I like that point that confidence for some sectors of society, in essence, men concerned with face, seem to come from the artificial submission slash subordination of others. Have any of you ever been able to convince anyone having a problem with your confidence that they should ask themselves why they do? Interesting. I think Eva can
Mhm.
chime in this question from Janet.
All right. So, have any of you ever been able to convince anyone who has a problem with my
Mm.
confidence
Mm-hmm.
they should ask themselves why they have a problem with my confidence? All the time. All I have
I
to
know,
do
right?
is walk into a bloody room these days. Oh my God. And immediately you get really defensive, you really defensive people who, especially I think a lot of men who are not necessarily very comfortable, very confident, as Joanne was saying before. Um, to see how confident you are just moving in a space and to embody something that they've been trying so hard to try to be it's really, really off-putting for the people who don't feel it deep on the inside, because they've been trying to achieve this facade that you just embody. It's really, really, really off-putting. And they can be the nastiest little shits about it. And they can try to insult you, try to push you down, try to like gaslight you and just make you doubt yourself. And do I bother re-educating them? No. It's just too hard when they're that far gone. Unless they start to insult like the people around me or something like this, then I'll have a go at them. And then it's very easy to turn it back on those people, because I mean, they are displaying their insecurities out for everybody to see. But I guess when I do have the opportunity to educate in a much nicer, nurturing setting is when I meet the submissives who come to meet me in session. And it's not that so much that they have a problem, it's more that they display the same things that they've been trying so hard to achieve, that you know, as men, they've been trying to achieve this status, this face in life, and they finally have an opportunity not to worry about that. But you still have to re-educate people out of it, because it is so pervasive in life as well. And so it's a huge like re-education process. It's not something that you can just kind of say off the bat. You know, we spend our whole lives figuring out what is sex, money, power, and how are we supposed to act around it, and how are we supposed to be with these things. And so you can't just correct it like that. It took me like 8 years of domination to really step into it myself. And it takes people, you know, some people never escape the lie that they live to themselves either. So yeah, there's a roundabout question to tell you that there's no easy way to convince somebody that they need to look themselves in the mirror, basically. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's not about convincing, but also
Mm.
because most of my shows are with a live audience, so it is easier for me to put those kind of guides down with a microphone. I'll give you an example. We did a show called Story Party, where we got the audience to come up to tell us their the horror date stories that they have. So one guy came up and he was just so absolutely rude about women, and he was condemning women, and wondering why they won't go out with him because he thinks he's good looking, he's an expat. And even as he was saying his 5 minutes on stage, because we give the audience a chance to like come and tell your story, the host was trying to distract him. The host was another male comic, and he wouldn't let the host take the mic, you know, like because I could feel like we had about 500 packs of people watching us. I could feel every woman in that room was like piercing him with their eyes. And to make it worse, he really sounded like he was God's creature on stage. So he went down and it was my turn. And then I came up and I said, let's take his name as Roger, right? I said, you know, Roger, because he says that he at one point he even criticized gay men, right? And I said, Roger, I hope that you are not heterosexual all the way, because at the rate you're going, I can bet you that 500 people in this room, none of these girls will want to suck your cock afterwards. And that just got the whole crowd clapping. So for me, it's a little bit easier, I guess, because when you're on stage, you can do that to them. Yeah. But not one-on-one.
I think that's an amazing use of power in this situation. At the same time, though, as you know, pretty dominant women in our field, we have good days and we have bad days, like what Eva said, and you just encounter these things without your consent, right, and without a microphone. So we we go along, you know. we Okay, so I think we have a bunch of questions again in the audience. I think Yan Yan has a please for Eva on the topic of power. Okay. Ooh, tip me if you see my pussy. Always wanted to say that. Okay. All right. Oh, ka-ting, ka-ting. All right, from Yan Yan. I've seen you now in a few panels, and you have the softest voice. Ooh, and only speak the least on the panel. Do you find this far more powerful for your clients when you speak with quiet authority, like Miranda in Devil Wears Prada, who never raises her voice? Or do you shout at them behind closed doors? Interesting. Notice how my voice quieted down when I read that.
And that's called power, people.
It
You do not need to have a loud voice to have power.
You don't.
You just need to strike fear or respect. A mixture works very well. Do I do that on purpose? I don't feel that I have a very soft voice. I think when you've seen me on these panels, I'm speaking with women who have incredible perspectives. And so I know that I want to shut up and I want to pay attention and to listen. And so maybe that's why I might be quieter than I normally am. Do I shout at people behind closed doors? No, I haven't. I'm not much of a shouter, but I do see people crumble, but that's because of that mixture of fear and respect that I tend to build up over time with the people who I have relationships with. So that's how I wield my power, Yan Yan, and how I use my time wisely by listening to these women.
Yeah, sometimes we're here also to learn, you know, yeah, because this is a conversation. Yes, go ahead.
I say I'm learning a lot already from Eva.
Likewise. I wish I had a microphone. I really hate
I know,
Rob.
right? Just in the middle of the street.
It's funny. People naturally think I'm a dominatrix. Like in Malaysia, we are not overtly exposed to the BDSM culture, not like in Singapore. I think there's a bigger culture and a bigger knowledge about what BDSM and dominatrix mistresses do. I think in Malaysia we haven't opened that door. I mean, not to say that there are none out there. There are, but it's not as freely discussed. So I'm actually very glad that this opportunity happened, you know. And it's funny, the minute I got confirmed for this show, I was telling people and I was like, oh, I'm being interviewed by two other BDSM mistresses. And everything in their mind is like they have 1,000,001 questions. And they all think it's like a porn show or 50 Shades of Grey. And I'm like, no, oh my God. I said, it's like I have to like educate them with the little knowledge that I have that it's not about putting you in a dog suit and then, you know, like and then dragging you around unless you want to and it's with consent, you know.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? Something that you said during one of our pre-interviews, Joe Cam, struck me as domination. You were talking about this part in your show wherein you call men up on stage and then you'd make them do stupid things. That's basically what we do.
I know, but mine is with a funny. So I guess
always laugh at mine.
Yeah. It's very funny. So part of my show is I will bring guys up, and you'll be surprised. Like I've been doing this game for like 20 over years, and even though it's the same routine, every time I do it on stage, the results are different. Okay, and the guys that come up sometimes, because you know, as a performer, you know which are the guys that will have that extra, like they're more sporting, they're more like okay, they'll come up, and I do these questions. I question them and make them uncomfortable. I ask them things like, oh, so how many inches are you? You know, things like, so have you, you know, manscaped down there? You know, is your chest hair as long as your hair down there? Things like that. And they get very shy and uncomfortable. Then I get them to do like this bit where they're go-go dancing on a pole, okay, on a microphone stand, right? And you'll be surprised, some of the geekiest, nerdy ones, when you put men in competition against each other. Wow, it's just hilarious. They come up with the funniest thing.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, power.
Yeah, well, that's the trick, isn't it? That trick is the competition aspect.
Yeah,
I
competition
think
aspect. So
there.
they want to outbeat each other
Mm,
in
yeah.
front
Yeah,
of 1,000 audience. And another one, I get them to wear bras and balloons and get them to do a sexy catwalk as well.
see, that's already sissification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here,
Men in a
sissification.
bra, men in a bra, oh
Here.
my God. They love it. They're like, the
Yeah.
minute the bra is on them,
Ooh.
and then they're like touching the balloon, like as if they're masturbating themselves. I think secretly all men just want to wear bras. That's all.
And grope themselves,
And
right?
grope themselves.
They love boobs. Okay, speaking of bras, and another one of my awkward segues here. Another one of our awkward segues. We have a comment from
Mm-mm,
Trisha. I think
mm-mm,
she's one of our co-teachers here
mm-mm,
in Sugar and Spice. Also, she says this works for parenting. Also, moms should whisper instead of
mm-mm,
shout. That'll scare the kids more.
mm-mm.
And from Yan Yan again, how do you build up the fear and respect? I'm going to combine Trisha and Eva's suggestions for my kids. Haha, they aren't going to know what happened. Okay, any comments, ladies? I am clueless with children.
Let's ask the kids question first, answer,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
then you
sure.
can ask me about the heckling one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So fear and respect. I think that I don't set out to set people in that direction. I don't want them to, I really don't care what they think, which is maybe part of it. And and maybe that helps to already create a certain kind of relationship where it's like, oh, they don't actually give a shit what I think, what she like. She doesn't give a shit what I think about her. I am irrelevant to this, and that already puts them in a certain place.
Mhm.
It's more that I act a certain way. I'm very consistent with how I am, and I am very respectful to them as well. And I'm very, I pay a lot of attention to who they are as well. And I notice every little thing about them that maybe they've said, that they've done, and that they're doing right there. And I think that keeps people on their toes. Not only do they feel on their toes, but they feel like they're being understood and heard and respected as well, and that I care about them. And I think that level, that intensity breeds this thing between us where they just want to be there for me, and they want to to give me what I want. Yeah, I think that's how I do it. I mean, people are going to do it differently. I don't have kids. I have a lot of slaves, but I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't put them in necessarily the same boat. Until I have kids, I'll let you know. Maybe it's similar.
Yeah. So it's about a high level of self-awareness, right? Just being happy with yourself first, and then being able to devote that much attentiveness to the other person. That gives them power. That gives you power,
I think
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
with
in a
kids,
strange way. Yeah.
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
with kids, because I guess I'm the only one with a child here. My daughter is 15 years old. My daughter have been backstage with me since 5.
Yeah.
So she's heard all the sex jokes. She's heard she can tell you when the other comic has a new joke or not. Like, she's so bored of hearing my jokes, and I have a very explicit jokes that, like,
That's so
yeah, whenever I ask her to come and watch my show, she's like, is it the same jokes again? Is the uncle doing the same joke again? Like, really? Like, okay. So the thing is, you would expect, she's 15, right? You would expect that someone who grow up with, okay, she's surrounded by show people. She's got drag queens around her since she was 3, you know. When she was 5, all the drag queens were like put makeup on her backstage. So she's really a show, like the showgirls kind of thing, where you see girls backstage with their mom's bra and the mom's corset. Like she helped put this one on for me, she's become a dresser right now. And you would think that she would, because she's so exposed to that world, the dirty jokes, the performer, the drag queens, the gay guys, and all that, that her character would be more like me, right? But she is the direct opposite. She is introvert, but she's very learned. Like she knows everything. She knows about orgies, she knows about threesome, she knows about gay sex, she knows everything, but she doesn't look like she knows. You get what I mean? And
Very
and
low
we
key.
yeah, and because I'm a single mom as well, so sometimes things are, and you're right, sometimes I shout at her and all, but I also realize that you need to ask your children and talk to them and ask them what they want. Like for example, there was one time I wanted her to do gym. She wanted, then she got out. She wanted ballet, then she didn't like it, she got out. Then so years later I asked her, I said, you wanted to do ballet, but why did you want to stop after 3 months? You wanted to do gym, what do you call this, gymnastic, and then you stop. Then she tells me, she's like, Mom, I'm so big, I'm bigger than the other girls, so what they can do I can't do, and I'm always the last. And I didn't force her to continue. Like some parents would be like, tiger mom. It's like, okay, how can you join something and then after 4 months you tell me you don't want to do it anymore? How can you give up so easily? So it's also perspective, talking to your kids as well, understanding where they're coming from. She doesn't want to she doesn't want to continue, not because she gives up easily, but it's also about what her body can do and can't do, and how she feels when she's in the class, not being able to bend as much, or do as much as the other girls. And it's a constant, I would rather bring her out than she be in it. And it's a constant weekly embarrassment for her if she cannot hack the other things that the other girls could do. But that's my personal parenting, not for everyone, I'm sure, but that's how I deal with my daughter being a single mom in this industry.
That's actually really valuable to add in this discussion, Joe Cam. Because again, I'm not really so into kids, so I can't speak for
Mm.
that. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts about it. And it sounds like it makes sense to me. I mean, like it's about sharing power.
Mm.
Still, it's about sharing power, making sure that it's consensual, trial and error,
Yeah.
you know, and treating them basically as human beings. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's I think until the very end, it's all about treating people with respect. Okay, good. So before there you go, respect. Trisha just said it, respect. Before I go to the question about hecklers, Joe Cam, is it okay if I jump
Yeah.
to the
Jump.
I
Yeah.
I'll jump to Martha's question, which I've been excited to to
Okay.
say and hear your answers about. Do you ever feel bad about using sex slash sexuality for money slash power, being sexualized or objectified? Who shall begin? Can I begin? I'll begin with
Yeah.
this.
You begin, and then Eva.
Let's. I think we
do
can all partake in
Yeah, we do the
this
round
question.
robin thing. Round
Let's
robin.
do that. Okay, so um, I, I only feel bad when it's non-consensual. I guess that's it right there. When the setup is wrong, or when certain boundaries, things that I can't control, were misunderstood,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. So I I am an exhibitionist. I'm a performer. So I love being to a degree objectified and sexualized. I am perfectly fine and happy even to hear that people masturbate over me, over my pictures, but that is consensual. Okay, as long as it's consensual, it's okay. When you remove it from that setting, you're taking basically the power away from me, you know? So, for example, if it's just some random guy on the street flashing me his penis, that's not something that I consented to. Okay, so it has to be in the proper setup for me to feel good about it. And again, it has to be paid for.
I have a question for you, Joyen. Okay,
Yes,
because you were
yeah.
talking that it needs to be consensual. I think among the three of us, everyone has had someone masturbating over their picture or video at one point or another. But is it consensual if, let's say, they send you a video of them masturbating out of the blue? Uh,
Mm,
but by
good
like,
question.
yeah, but by like, oh, you're so beautiful. I check out your website. I saw your Instagram, and I just want to show you how much respect I have for you. And then it's a video of them masturbating through your
Okay.
picture.
All right. So what I do is, for years and years, Joe Cam, I've been confused with how to deal with that as
Yeah.
well, which is why
Yeah.
that's a really good question. Now, though, I discovered, and I wasn't the first one who did this. Now I charge for that.
So let's say if they send I don't know how, like through one of the space and all that. So
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
do that, do you send them your PayPal account straight away? And you're like $10 now.
Well, you know what? I haven't done that. I haven't done. I mostly just ignore if it's that
Ah,
out of the blue. Otherwise, if you come in one of my channels, I will list it in the menu items.
correct.
Okay, that's how fixed I would be. I would be again. It doesn't work for everyone, but that's how I do it. And then what do I do? There's also this other sex worker that I know of. What she does is she print screens
Mm-mm.
that conversation, okay, and then she says I will. She does a bit of blackmail with it. I will post this on all of my social media. I will email this to my massive mailing list if you don't pay me if you don't pay me $20 or whatever right now. If you
Oh
don't pay for that,
wow. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's
So
one way to get them to
that's one way.
respect.
Yeah, that's one way.
It's still
That's
a
one.
form of
Yeah.
respect.
Turning the tables around, I guess.
All
Turning
right.
the tables around. All right. So talking more about Martha's question.
Mm.
Did Mistress Eva have an answer? There you go. Spotlight. I might
Everybody's
stop your
mad
video.
about using sex or sexuality for money and power. Who doesn't use sex or sexuality for money and power? On some
Yeah.
level, in some little way, even if you're just like flirting with somebody, it's to establish a power dynamic in even just a moment of time. And it's such a social currency that it would be naive to think that it's not happening. And people are trying to use it on each other all the time, but I've taken the time to become an expert at it. And that is my right. And I definitely use it in a private setting where it's consensual, and I definitely use it in a public setting when people show an interest in me or when I have an interest in somebody else. I use it for
Mm.
sure, and I have no problem with that at all. If I do not get a response in my utilization of it, and I realize that it will become a non-consensual situation, I remove myself from that situation immediately, because I've been on the receiving end of non-consensual sexual attention and misuse of power many, many, many times, always, still now. And yeah, and so I guess it's just this constant dance that I'm always navigating, that we're all always navigating. And do I feel bad about it sometimes? No. No. I have suffered enough shit from too many assholes out there to ever feel like I am using what I have as talents anymore.
I
Yeah,
love that.
they can go fuck themselves. Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah. And in terms
That's
of
really
people
awesome.
sending me like jerk off videos and stuff like this, I'm so glad there are functions where I don't have to see them, because I have enough sexuality in my life. It gives me nothing. It maybe gives them something to be able to send it, but I really don't have the time, the energy to give a shit about some random person sending me whatever. You know, it's like I have like somebody who will sit and jerk off on my feet at my command. Why do I care about some stupid little text that you want to send me? I really don't care. That's my take on it.
I need to get to that point where Eva is. You know, I need to get men ejaculating on my feet.
You mean they don't?
Eating
They
it.
don't?
That now?
No, they just send me videos of them jerking off. I'm like, and these are friends. I'm like, wow, dude, I'm surprised. Yeah, friends who want to get to know me. Yeah, they're already friends, and then they're like, you know, then I'm like, okay.
Oh.
Level of
Yeah.
entitlement is really
And
pathetic.
you think that these people are like either not well, they were like ex-bosses like of my radio
Oh
show and
God.
things like that. Yeah.
Talk about use of power.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Screenshot.
Screenshot.
Oh my God, I just realized that I just said, well, okay, it's all right, it's all right. He's not here and he will not be here.
And
And
there are
people
many
who just
ex-bosses.
realized that I mentioned about my radio boss, they won't be able to figure who it is.
Were you saying something, Eva?
No. Just that screenshots are possible.
Screenshots are the best. Screenshots are the fucking best ever. Did you want to add anything to this objectification question, Joe Cam?
Sorry, what was the question again? I forgot.
Do you ever feel bad about being sexualized for power,
I mean,
objectified?
okay, this is the thing because I'm like my whole career is based on sex jokes, right? And the issue with Malaysian men, I think Asian men is especially the older ones, right? They are naturally already very hums up. Hums up in English, what is it called? Sleazy? Sleazy?
Mm-hmm.
So like recently,
Pervert.
pervert, sleazy, more like sleazy. They're not really pervert. They'll just come out and say it. So I get like when I go. Okay, this was in a big meeting. I went in for a meeting. The bosses came. Of course the bosses, because they're slightly older men, they've seen me perform so many times, and they know that my show is kind of dirty, kinky. My jokes are very dirty. The image of themselves that they have is of me like this, right? So I gave him my name card. The name card has got two cabaret pictures of myself. And in front of everyone, he said, Joanne, you should have another layer to the card where if we open it one way, it will show you in a bikini. You know, just things like that. And with 10 other men on the table. And they say things like that, like as a matter of fact, you know, and it's like, yeah, this is so great, you're very sexy, but you know, one more flip and then I can see you in a bikini will be even better, things like that, in a board meeting for an event, you know. And because they are the clients, you can't call them out at being sexist, you know. I always
They
get
have the money.
it's yeah, I would say that, yeah, it's objectifying, but I'm someone that has used that strength,
Mm-hmm.
turn it into job aspect. The only reason why they're getting me instead of another male comic is they want to see, you know, me in sexy costumes and for me to tell them dirty jokes. That's what they
Boobs.
want. That's what they want. If not, they could get a male comic, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, yes, I do sometimes feel that um, there's a lot of sexual objection my way, whether it's consent or non-consent. There is a way that I know how to maneuver it, because if it's not too bad, I won't tell them off. But if it gets a bit too too, how would I say, uncomfortable.
Mm.
uh, I've advised women, I've advised actresses who are sexy, but they always get this kind of thing. I've told them, you know what, men are very easy creatures. All you need to do is you pull them aside, make sure they leave their hurt, and then you tell them like, oh, you know, sir, just now when you were looking at my tits and you were telling me that you would like to eat tiramisu off my breast, you know, I didn't feel comfortable with 12 other, you know, of your managing directors looking at us. But if you really want to eat tiramisu off my
This is
breast,
how much.
1,000 USD. If anyone wants to give me 1,000 USD, I'll let you eat tiramisu and more on my breast.
Mm.
My daughter's not here; she's in her other room, so it's okay. I'm easy.
See, you also actually introduced yet another BDSM concept, Joe Cam. That's
Eating
limits and
tiramisu?
expectations. Yes. Limits, expectations, and renegotiating boundaries.
I should really be trained by both of you,
I don't
and
think
then
you
do
need it.
my Australian Asia tour.
And they'll pay you for it. You know
Mm,
that? They'll pay you
mm.
for it.
Of course, you think I'm doing it for chicken wings?
Okay, I love that. I love that. So, did you want to add anything else to the question about hecklers, like how you deal with them? You
Oh,
pretty much
they
answered.
don't dare. They don't dare. I've had hecklers before. In fact, I really want hecklers, but they don't dare. It's like, I guess because my persona on stage is so bitchy, it's like mother bitch. It's like, okay, I'll give you an example. I brought up a social media influencer, this very famous male social media influencer. And as I was asking him question on stage, there was a girl, obviously his PA, that was shouting answers for him. He's on stage with a microphone, but because he's a bit shy, because it's on stage to 1,000 people, so his PA, a girl, shouted like things like what I was asking him about, like what's his channel, how many Instagram followers does he have, and she's shouting away. After the third question, I just turned around and told her, "Shut up, bitch! He's on stage, you're not, so keep your mouth shut." I just said it like that. And the best part is because sometimes when you do things like that, your audience are not with you. But because the way I do it is in such a way, there is a tone and the way that you do on stage that you get the audience with you. You always must have the audience at your back. You
Mhm.
know, for a show like that, when she's answering from down below, and here you have the poor guy not being able to answer because she's shouting question, that is just rude in terms of audience, how would I say, decorum, because when you go and watch a show, any show, whether you're in a festival, in a comedy club, there's certain decorum that you have to adhere to. You know, shouting like that is always a no-no. And we, at one point or another, in any show, you'll have to have hecklers anyway. So there's a certain way that you deal with it where you put them down. You put them down, but you must always ensure that the crowd is with you. Because if you're getting irritated by her or by him, trust me, the other audience that are watching are also irritated and they're just waiting for you to give it back to them.
See, so it's also about reading the room and
Yeah.
taking control over it. Yeah, taking control over it. So yeah, I think, and it applies also not just on the stage but everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just on the stage or in BDSM situations, but also everywhere. If you have, I guess, a similar group of people, also, group mentality. The moment that the
Mm-hmm.
the attacker
Mm-hmm.
feels outnumbered, yeah,
Yep. They'll
they
keep
tend
quiet.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll keep quiet. That's right, power. Okay, there you go. So let's see. Next question from the audience. Joyen, I'm asking my husband to follow your burlesque dance this afternoon. Is that sissification? Yeah, I guess to an extent, as long as it's consensual, Trisha, it could also be called this. Let me type it in the chat box. A forced feminization, because my burlesque style is very feminine, and who knows, maybe you and your husband could find something new to spice up your relationship. Okay,
Called
so
skilling up.
yeah, upskilling, man, upgrade your
Upskilling.
skills. keep keep the fire alive. Okay, we have another question from Yan. For Eva, you have a lot of slaves. Ooh, what makes you good at understanding them? Are you naturally an empath, or do you put a lot of effort into listening and paying attention to people?
I think I'm naturally a slightly better listener than most people. So that probably works to my advantage. That makes people feel heard. And also, I can read people, and also, I mean, I've been doing this for long enough that I can understand who's going to fit me or not pretty quickly these days. And so I get rid of the people who are not going to be compatible. And so the ones who are around, I get along with. And that's as simple as that, if that's could be considered simple, I guess.
I have a question for Eva.
Uh-huh.
Uh, because you've been doing this for quite a while, 8 years, right?
10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah.
Have you encountered, what was the most dangerous situation that you have encountered work-wise?
I guess danger can come in many forms. I'm lucky that nothing has been physically dangerous, or legally dangerous. I would
Mm.
say that things get psychologically dangerous all the time. That's really
Oh.
the biggest danger, for sure, for me and for the people under my care. It's always a concern, even now. I would say very, very early on, people would ask me questions about my childhood. And I wasn't
Mm.
abused, but the way that I was maybe disciplined when I was a child, and I wasn't ready to bring
Mhm.
my child self to this work back then. Now it's an okay conversation, but it was way too intimidating for me back then. But now I'm the level of intimacy that you have with people's psychologies, you really have a lot of room where you can really destroy somebody. And so it's definitely the most dangerous thing about the job, I think. Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful perspective. It's
Mm.
a very wonderful perspective, and um, BDSM has a lot to do with power play and surrender, and turning perhaps into an extension of yourself or into a completely different person, and that's probably the most dangerous thing, because that influences us to put physical danger to others.
Mm.
It starts here. It starts
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge power to wield.
Mhm.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
in really, yeah. That was
Wow.
lovely.
It's exciting but terrifying also sometimes.
That's why
Yeah, I
we
mean,
love it.
Yeah. That's why we do it.
That's why we do it. It's our calling. We
Yeah.
should be prophets. In relation to that, our good friend Yan, who should be given an award for
I know.
best panel questions.
best questions.
Best questions ever, like
Mm.
in all of the panels that I've attended.
I
Mhm.
know.
You
Thank you.
three, thank you, Yan. You three must be some of the most empowered women. Has the non-consent gone the other way? Who doesn't use sexuality or sex for money or power?
Mhm.
Those who don't have it or don't
Th-
who
tho-
don't
tho-
think that they do.
those are two different questions. So it's just the first half. The other one was just a response to the
Mhm.
something about, I think it was Eva who said
Okay.
something about
Okay.
sexuality.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So
So
the
this was
question
just
here is
about
this one.
have you been on the giving end of the non-consent or the slightly non-consent?
That means
Mm.
we tell them
That
non-consent, or
that means
they
no, that means you
non-consent.
bully the other person.
But isn't that their job?
No. Consensual bullying.
Sorry, the minute they come up on stage, it's already consent for me. I'm
The
sorry,
minute they bought the ticket.
yeah, the minute they bought the ticket, you're sitting there. I say, you up. They come up. It's already consent. Because if they don't want, they'll be like, no, 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 thank you. Pick my friend. And I'm like, okay. He doesn't want to come up. You know?
Yeah,
If
so
you're
there's definitely negotiation still.
yeah.
But saying that, like I've become so I um I've been on the receiving end of people imprinting their desires on me a lot. And I've only become better at learning how to measure that lately, actually. And because I've been on the receiving end so much of this attention that I didn't want, I've learned that I shouldn't use my power, my sexuality in that way because it really jeopardizes people. And I can feel that in me. And I make a point of basing my whole life around negotiated scenarios. But what I have become really good at is when people do that to me, I've become much better at pointing it out and telling them that's not okay, which is something that I didn't know how to do a long time ago now. So no, I'm very, very, very conscious in my day-to-day life when I'm out and about of seeing how people are and how they want to interact with me and being respectful about it. I don't go there. And the job really makes me understand how important that is. Yeah.
So I really respect that. And obviously some people, when they are bullied, they decide they'll never bully anybody else again.
Yeah.
But there might be other times where people are bullied, and then when they get the power, they decide they're going to bully somebody else as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
You definitely see those cases. I guess I'm more the first case, but I keep it in a nice little packaged form.
Or maybe you're
But I
being
do feel.
bullied. You bully them, but they don't know they're being bullied. Is that
Yeah,
such a
well,
thing?
I'm hyper conscious. I'm hyper conscious of how I use it so much to the point that I put it into a job, you know? So that's kind of what happened to me. Yeah. Everybody goes about it differently, but that's what happened to me.
Also, a thing to remember, I guess, with the bullying, it actually also says more about that person
Yeah.
rather than the person being bullied. So I guess we just have to, if we can, I guess, step back a little and then try to see what's really going on, or removing the feelings first. Although this is quite hard in other situations, but if you can do that, then you will regain the power, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. In relation to that, again from Yan Yan, this could be a panel with Yan Yan and the three of us.
Yeah, correct.
For Joe Cam,
Uh,
how do you make sure that you have the audience at your back? How are you able to read them so well, or how are you able to get them on your side? That's, yeah, very
yeah.
much related.
Well, because Yan, I've been on stage for 29 years. I know I don't look that old, but I'm old.
You're Asian. You're Asian.
I'm Asian. I'm ageless. No, but it's also okay because I for me everything is on stage. Okay, so everything I do is on stage, is with audience the size of 30, 50, 100, 200, 1,000. So when you're on stage for a long time, as in experience, it comes naturally, you know. If you've been performing for 20 years and you still don't know how to read your audience, then you really wonder why you're there for 20 years. So especially with stand-up comedy, because it's so subjective, your jokes may not be something that some other people may like, right? So, like, if you look at comics, there will be scenarios where sometimes they get heckled, or sometimes someone just doesn't like their jokes. Online, you have, if you put your jokes up, of course, you will get keyboard warriors, coming in and say things like, oh, You're not a good comedian because you only talk about sex jokes and things like that. On stage, if they're there and they are put off by your jokes, you can tell. There is an energy in the room. All right. There's a certain energy. So if you are someone with a lot of material, if you go in and you realize that maybe your first joke was too in their face and your audience clench up, you could feel it. You could literally, it's like an energy, you could feel it. I'll give you an example. I did a tour in Australia through Sydney, Melbourne, and Canberra. And one of the smaller towns that we went to, because it wasn't a Sydney or Melbourne crowd, because Sydney and Melbourne crowd, you get, yay! Okay, it was a very small town, I think. Uh, and most of the people that came and watched the comedy was slightly older white people, couples and all that. To make it even more interesting, the comedy tour that I went on was for LGBT rights. So we were all representing our gender. So here you get grandmothers and all that coming in. So when I was the MC, I went up 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes, I could feel them clamping up because for them it's like, oh my God, I didn't know this kind of things existed. Then you change your tone, you slow down your delivery, you make your tone and your voice as comfortable as it is for them. And then you continue. Maybe instead of pushing the joke right in front in their face, you kind of like ease the joke in. And once they're comfortable with that, you'll be surprised. It's basically just the tone and the speed of your voice. Like someone mentioned, like Joyen is very soft spoken. So you do that and you get them comfortable, and then you tell them about anal jokes, and then that works.
You know who you are? Your comedy mistress, Joe Cam, right
Absolutely. I'm
there.
like, hang on, wait, I kind of do this, but then I actually,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Okay, the anal joke is the punchline, folks. That's the punchline. I didn't tell them anal jokes. That one another gay comic did. I
Oh, okay,
had
okay.
to ease them so that the gay comic can come and tell his anal joke.
So you had to lubricate them.
I had to like massage this old retiree senior citizen white folks. Really, they were like, because nothing else happens in that town, so they all came out to see Asian queer comics.
much to their much, much to their shock.
Much to
I
their
guess.
shock, but they enjoyed it. For them, it's something new, something they've never tried before. That it's a Friday night. There's nothing else happening in that town. Trust me. They didn't even have an Asian restaurant that opens for 24 hours. We were hungry. We went back and ate potato chips from the hotel. So
That's
everywhere,
terrible.
I know, everywhere else in Australia, you'll have one Asian restaurant that closes at
Yeah,
midnight, right? This town,
yeah.
everything closes at night. One of the
Where
other
the
gay
hell was?
boys were tempted to go on Grinder and was talking to this grandfather, and we were negotiating whether the grand would he be able to get grandpa to defrost pizza and bring to our mom.
Please.
That wasn't even a joke. That really happened because the gay comic from Singapore was very cute. So he was like, guys, really? Are you sure? He will drive with pizza 20 minutes to come and give it to us. And we decided, nah, it's okay. You don't have to take one for the team.
Oh, he didn't want to be objectified for pizza. Come on.
The Asian in us was like, yes, do it.
Yeah.
We're hungry. Get that white boy
God,
to bring pizza. Come on. They were all like really old people there. They were all old. They were like 50 over. Yeah.
that means they would have been done really quick, and you could still have pizza, right?
Exactly. That's what I told him. I said, what if we don't take off the light? And then the Indian comic can take over,
So
Uh,
I guess what I got from Joanne here, Yan Yan, to answer your question, is it takes years of experience and it's a skill that needs continuous honing. You know, it's not just something that happens overnight. I guess maybe some people have natural talent for it, but active listening that takes practice,
Yeah.
and not just on stage as a comedian, or not just in as a BDSM practitioner. You know, as a person, as a human being, if you do active listening, you know, it works wonders on you learning more about yourself and the other person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I will ask another question here in my list. Okay. For the ladies, who would you take on a date or have sex with or play with in a public space, and why? Juicy, ice-breaking question. Halftime.
Ooh, I like your questions. If I don't care, I must get you like either live or on stage with me
I'm scared.
in the near future. Both of you, Eva and Joy. I'm like in my mind, I'm like got producer hat on. I'm like, how can I get these two ladies?
I know,
I'm
right? This would be
ready.
so
It's
good.
okay. We
Yeah,
can perform in Australia. Yeah.
yeah,
How about
definitely.
Australia? So
I'd take
so
the old guy for the pizza.
it'd be so easy for us to get old guy with pizza, you know.
Yeah.
And then the Asian in us is like, does he have anything else besides pizza? Like maybe sweet and sour pork. So who would you like to date or have sex with or play with in the public? Is that for us or for the audience?
Yeah, also for the audience.
And Yan Yan, who would you like to do that with?
Yeah.
I have a
Okay,
list.
Yan Yan.
Yan Yan,
Payback
your
time.
turn.
Your
Yeah.
turn.
The three of
Wow,
you
you are daring, Yan Yan.
So are you like a trisexual as well, like me? Like I'll try anything. I like woman, okay, and okay,
That's so good. I'm gonna use that trisexual.
yeah. Dogs, okay, just don't tell people. All right, just don't tell people you try animals. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The usual animals that I have are all male. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes. Not that I'm getting any sex this COVID-19 lockdown. Okay.
No.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. Yeah. Uh, okay. So is anyone going to answer? Yan Yan, no worries. What do you call this? I'll have the threesome with you. That's how do you deal? Okay. This is a question to everyone. So, oh my God, I'm just like telling you my life. So.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, I know. Okay, so it's come to that right now. We're talking 2 hours and you know everything. Okay, so a couple, a lot. Okay, I was so horny, right? So like, I mean, like, there's so many apps. You've got Bumble, you've got Tinder, you've got OkCupid, and on Bumble, it was so funny. So this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu trainer who's a PT trainer and jiu-jitsu coach and all that, right? And he's really gorgeous, Brazilian. He looks like a mix of Vin Diesel with some other like tattoos, and there was a picture of him with 5 dogs. I don't know why. Right. And then I tried talking to him, but it's like one word syllable, you know? So do you girls get put off by men who cannot give you like proper WhatsApp answers, but like
Yes.
it's like, hi sexy, when was last time you sex? Yeah, it's repeated. How you today?
Okay, so Janet answered something in the chat box that resonates with me, and I'll piggyback off that. She says, "A clever tongue is necessary in more ways than one." Yes. Okay. So in my case, for example, I require like a properly written email,
Wow,
as
you need properly written email. I'm
Correct.
glad if they can comprehend a comprehension on WhatsApp.
Exactly. That's why it filters out all of the
All of that.
hey sexies.
I
As
So
long as it's got grammar right, I'm okay.
yeah.
You
I
need
need
it.
honorifics, guys. I'm like, you talk to me properly, or else you're just gonna be filed in with the rest of the hey sexies.
yeah, yeah.
God, and then that's how I know that he has a clever tongue, and can be used in more ways than one. Mama likes that.
Yeah.
Okay, how about Eva? Sorry.
I have an application for.
Exactly. Me
You,
too. Me
I should
too.
do that. I should do a application form and WhatsApp them.
Yeah, and
Yes,
all
that's what I do.
the boxes are this big, and the questions are about me.
Yes,
What-
Joe Campbell. This is
what's
how
the
you will
question?
address me.
What's the question, Eva?
So it's
I'm
like,
curious.
what do you like about me?
Okay.
What about me makes you want to approach and apply to meet me? What can you offer me?
Girls, take this question box down and just send it to anyone from Tinder and Bumble that you swipe right on. If they answer you hi, beautiful, then you send them straight away. It's easy
Yeah,
to
I mean,
filter.
I don't really do apps or anything like this. Maybe I would have to have a different strategy, but now I only really meet people on the internet who already know about my persona, and so they all apply. And I don't have the patience for the hi, hello, hi,
Yeah,
hi,
correct. It's so
hi, babe.
irritating, right? And they can't even form a conversation. You know what I
Yeah.
need to do after this? I think I really need to tell my web designer that I would require 2 websites instead of one. One for comedy and the other one is for
Dating.
fansonly.com.
You should do that, and I'm gonna send you the forms that I use. You could integrate your website with the forms like what
Yeah.
Eva does, or you can use Jot form or Google form to test it out for.
Just send a link.
Oh my God! No, I'm serious. It does work though. It does work to filter out all of the Hi Dom. Hi Dom.
I don't, right? And then, oh my God, they just repeat it after a few. It's almost like they
They
have
resent it.
4 statements, which is hi, sexy. When last time you have sex? Hi, when can meet? That's about it. That's about 4 or 5 of it. And it's
I'm
on-
horny.
I'm horny. And then the
Oh
pictures will come.
yes, and they will come. Anyway, yeah, going back, ladies, and the audience, you haven't answered my question. Who do you want to have sex with in public? It's a
Oh,
power play
private.
question. Yeah, have sex in
Play
public.
with you two, like in public, but with obviously things crawling around us, as in slaves. I would like that. I miss playing with my dom friends so much. I avoided meeting people in Bali because I used to travel so much that when I come back, I don't want to see friends. But now I can't travel anywhere. I don't have any friends. And it's like, oh my God, I have nobody to laugh with. I have nobody to laugh about like men with. It's really
Eva, you can always what do you call this? WhatsApp video call me.
I know, but it's different. It's different
That
in
is
real
different.
It's different.
life. Yeah, so that's what I want right now. I don't care about sex and little playthings. I really miss my dom friends a lot.
Where are they stuck in?
They're so far. My closest friends are in New York and London.
Oh wow!
Halfway across the world.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to make new dom friends in
I
Bali.
know. I know.
Are you the only dominatrix in Bali at the moment?
No, I think there were a couple others, but they haven't been very nice to me. So
Oh really? It's something which I can ask a question about because you're
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. That's a good question. Yeah, go ahead.
Because coming from, of course, a different performing style, you know. So dominatrix and dominatrix, do they, if they are in the same city, is there kind of like how would I say, do you all compete with each other, or
Catty,
It
catty.
really
is there
depends on
catty?
the person. For me, I really love a sense of community and I prize
Mhm.
other sex workers above all the clients. I I really put them on a pedestal and that's a problem I've had. I've been too nice that people take
Mhm.
advantage of me and they
Mm.
become really nasty and that was the problem that happened here. Yeah. So
Mm.
so I don't feel that, it's like we all have our types of clients. We're all so, because it's such a psychological game, it's
Yeah.
just, have very particular clients who want to stay with us. So I don't feel like there's a competition in that respect.
But
I feel like a sisterhood, like
but
camaraderie. Yeah,
you feel that way, but they
I
obviously
know.
don't. They
I know.
take it as a competition thing,
Yeah, I
you
know.
know.
I get
But
that.
yeah, especially, do you find it predominantly because you are in Asia? In
No,
Asia?
I have some friends in Singapore who I get along with quite well, but I'm not
Mhm.
as close as with the ones I mentioned earlier, and some
Mhm.
in Tokyo also that I'm very friendly with. But no, I think it's very much on an individual basis. Actually, the people I'm talking about, they're foreigners, but they happen to live in Asia
Ah,
or work in Asia.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So
So
they see you kind of like a threat, maybe?
I don't know. I don't really know what's going on there. They've tried to spread rumors about me, and so
Hmm.
I just avoid them.
Well, that's the other thing, rumor mongering, right?
Mm.
Especially in your industry, when they are catty and when they are, rumor mongering. How do you address that?
At first, it was very upsetting because I guess I've been lucky that I never had to experience that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Um, and I was quite taken aback. I'd never had to experience that feeling of, people spreading lies, basically. Um, but now I, I really take my time to get to know people before I open up to the level that I did before. And I don't
Mm.
offer, it's really hard because I like to offer help and that's
Mhm.
my go-to when there are other sex workers around. I really want to offer as much as I can. So I haven't become better at stopping to do that, but but I don't let them into my heart as quickly as I maybe used to. Yeah, that's the only way that I can handle it right now. I put up a few more walls. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's at least good because that's self-preservation as well.
And I don't have to
Responsible
worry. They
living.
can say all the shit they want. It's not true. And my
Mhm.
business does well and I do well, as if I give a shit. It's
Mhm.
just more upsetting that I gave my time and energy to these people.
Correct.
That's what they do. Yeah. So,
I'm
yeah.
gonna add a similar-ish experience to that. But of course, it depends on it's a case-to-case basis. But here in Manila, so I've also been here all my life, and then I started perhaps that way already, giving and all for community as Eva is, and basically ready to do anything for the community and for this lifestyle because
Mhm.
ultimately I feel like kink and alternative lifestyles uh, make us more human and encourage us to love ourselves more. So I believe that it has a very positive message, and I started out that way. When I was, getting into BDSM here in the Philippines, though, that's when people started being catty, and I got,
Ah.
yeah, yeah. So same as Eva, I got, a bit more cautious with my actions. It seemed like every little thing that I did was a mistake, and somebody would call me out on something or schedule the same events as my events
Oh my
were.
goodness, it's so bad to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
point.
Yeah, they would. So, I started maybe hiding my heart a bit and thinking
Mm.
that, oh my God, this was the right, this was underneath this beautiful community and lifestyle after all of that.
Mhm.
Okay, so I started retreating a bit, and then I went to New York and
Mhm.
the kink scene in San Francisco last 2016, and I was expecting that people would be catty also and bitchy towards the new girl, ooh, the new Asian girl, right? They weren't. And I was so surprised. They
Is it?
weren't. They were
Isn't it amazing
loving.
that you had to go overseas to be able to be to realize that there is a community, there is
Yeah,
love, that there are respect, you know, that it doesn't have to be always a competition, because
nothing. Yeah.
I feel that way too. All right. Now okay, fine. I've been doing this, like it's the same. I've been doing this for years, so nobody dares to come out and tell me. But initially, when I first started in Boom Boom Room Singapore, me and Kumar, we won't write our new jokes. We won't write our jokes. We took jokes from the books and all that, right? And then later on, there was a community that said that if you're not a real stand-up comedian unless you write your own jokes. And they were targeting for people like, I mean, mainly me, because that was how we learned in the first place. So I proved them wrong. I wrote all my jokes. So everything now I wrote and I performed, and I went overseas. I was the first one to have gone, a woman to do a one woman show there. And even when I come back, I always feel that I'm a little bit beneath from the guys. Okay, the other guys who were in the industry lesser time than me, there's always this weight around, like, oh, I'm better than you. I do feel it sometimes, you know, but it's so strange. I have to go away to actually be respected and recognized, you know, rather than from my community here. It's I don't know whether, that's why I asked whether it's an Asian mentality, because in Asia we are always taught to compete with each other even as children. You know, could that have been the mentality that went on? And indirectly, you know, when you see someone else at your same craft succeeding, there's that underlying competitiveness, and you know, that goes on because we were already inbred as kids. That was my 20 cents worth of thought.
Well, we have pretty much a similar experience then. I was also wondering myself that maybe what it was just like Filipino crab mentality, pulling the other person down so you can
Mhm.
go up. Maybe is it uniquely Asian? I'm not
No,
sure, but we do
no.
have similar
I know
experiences.
many international scenes that are just as bad. I think that talks a lot to our topic as well.
Mm-mm.
I think as women, there is internationally an idea of a competition for resources in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
comes from a place of having lack of power, you know, having lack of resources, lack of money. When you don't have enough of those things, you fight for it and you feel that
Yeah.
you need to compete for it. And whether that's bred into your culture or whether that is just the scenario of the society that you're living in,
Mm-mm.
that's just how people react to it. They're desperate, you know, and it's very normal and normalized and expected. And I see that everywhere. And I think maybe because I look Asian, but I grew up somewhere else,
Mhm.
I sound really weird. It's like maybe I'm foreign enough for me not to be confronting like I'm a local competition, maybe like everywhere in the world, you know? So maybe that's why I escape it in that way, except for these foreigners who are here. So maybe I'm more similar to them than I am to local. I don't know, but no, I see this everywhere. And the more that you dig into a scene somewhere, like the scene in New York is great when you talk about the kink scene because people really make an effort to make it great.
They do. Yes.
London is not so it's not so great in some ways, like
Oh.
very fragmented and really catty and mean in a lot of ways because people really like the hierarchy, you know, of
Mm.
having that power. And it's really it so it really depends who is leading at that point in time and what their values are. It's the problem everywhere for sure.
So it might be like an innately human
I think so.
thing to
Yeah.
to compete then for
Hmm.
resources. God, we're all just fucking animals.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's something I also notice, you know, it's like the more money that I've gotten, the more comfortable I feel expressing
Yeah.
what I want to say, the moving
Mm,
through the world, doing what I do, showing my face here. It's like I don't have to give a shit anymore because I have what I need. And it so sounds so basic, but that's just how it is.
I think at a certain level, because you're confident and you already know what you're doing is is making money for you, to be able to be at a platform where you you tell the rest of them, like, if you don't like it, then just fuck off, you know. If you don't like my style, then just don't come to my shows, you know.
Yeah.
don't
yeah.
don't procure my services.
Yep.
Losing you is not going to affect the money that I'm making
Yep.
for people like that. I mean, I always tell, like, the younger comics, I say I've been here for 29 years. All right, if I'm not good at what I do, I wouldn't be lasting this long, you know. And a lot of the young ones, I feel sometimes they are rushing to be famous, they are rushing with their crowd, they're rushing to be famous, they want to do everything and everything at the same time, which is great. But I'm also telling them, sustain, because this is an if this is an industry that you want to make money on, you know, it's not just giving everything at one point. It's like, you know, making people constantly, you know, looking at you and like, okay, you've got new things coming, you've got new stuff, you've got new what do you call this, new production, new writing, new form, you know, instead of just doing one form of entertainment and hoping that it's going to drag to a span of 20 over years, you know. So yeah, that's my 2 cents worth anyway. You know, never close yourself into just one segment.
Yeah, that's beautiful, and it really does says a lot of or many melting pot of experiences here in Asia. Yeah, I love it. And we have a couple of comments here in the chat box. I'll just read them aloud. Hmm, not from Janisha. Did I pronounce it right? I think going away to be respected. It's a culture. It is. I run an Asian network. Women compete. They do. They think that they cannot do the same thing as you. Of if they see you do it, even with a community, they would see it as they are under you, which is actually not true. However, it's pretty much Asian. Okay. God, Asian crab women. And from Janet Chui, or Chui, Janet
Mhm.
Chui, not in this industry, not even in this industry, but I'm resonating hard with the experience of finding more acceptance and cooperation
Mhm.
and mutual support overseas than
Mm.
in my Asian culture. Janisha, again, similar experience. I'm gaining more support internationally. And from Janet, it's definitely mostly in the countercultures in Asia where you find more emotional support. I guess in line with what Eva said, I think that there's something about just moving away from your hometown and then realizing that and seeing it and interacting with people who have seen you only from afar, that sort of gives you that edge. Because I guess familiarity breeds contempt. There's some
Mhm.
truth in that, I guess. So you might seem differently because you're far away, okay, rather than how people who know you perceive you, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, wow, it's already 8:41, but I have one last question from Yan Yan, and I have another more. I have another last question from me before we wrap up. Do your superpowers with people translate to your personal slash dating lives? Joyen was talking about active listening being useful not just for professional life but personal as well. Do you play the same roles in your personal lives or the opposite roles? You are so good at listening to your clients slash audience. Are you good at making your family feel heard and understood? Do you manage your relationships with your mothers, fathers, spouses with your superpowers, or are they all shit and drama filled like the rest of us? Somebody give this guy an award, Martha. Tech people, give Yan Yan an award, okay?
Joyen is a guy.
Yes, yes, he is.
Sorry, Joyen. All this while I thought you were a woman.
Oh no, he's a guy.
All right, dude. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
any of the
Eva
ladies?
first.
So parents are a hard one because you grew up with them before you acquired the skills if you didn't get the skills from them. I got half my skills from my mother, but I learned the other half on my own. And so it's been hard, but I definitely use my skills on her. Definitely. Yeah. And our relationship is much better because of how, because of my job and because of how much practice I've had listening to people. My personal relationships, the thing is that I'm in the job of personal relationships, and my personal relationships are my work relationships and vice versa. They're kind of merged at this stage in time. And I'm very happy and very content with what I get out of my personal relationships. So I guess that answers that. Yeah, I definitely use my skills whenever I can.
He's a pro, baby. Talking to a pro here.
Yeah.
How about Joe Cam?
I
Do you have
think I
anything?
need to start, working my way into being a dom in the next couple of years so that I can actually have some form of relationship.
Oh my God.
Let me take let me take a picture of myself first with everyone. I'm so bad at this. So, uh, I think with me, I always get men who are very intimidated, but of course, some of them get past that and then try to get to know me. The thing is also because I'm like also very sexual. So if a guy chases me and he is not my sexual equal, which means that's not going to happen. You're just going to be in the friend zone forever. So with me, relationships have been hit and miss. you know and I guess because of my past relationships that didn't work out, like my baby daddy, which was like, okay, didn't work out, and other relationship which I had, which is 2 years ago, also didn't work out. And when they break so bad that the emotional side of me, you know trusting enough to open up a relationship path, that I haven't found the person that is right for me. So yeah, so that's in terms of relationship. In terms of um listening, unfortunately my parents passed on quite young. My mom passed when she was 16, when I was 16. Sorry, my dad passed when I was 16, my mom passed when I was 21. So both never actually got to see me becoming the performer and the entertainer that I am now. So that's kind of sad. Because I have quite traumatic childhood as well, I don't know if those traumas pass on to my relationships that I have now. I guess they must have. But when it comes to listening, no, I did not get that from my parents. In fact, I got them from my experiences, um, being kind of like being a mother, and also wanting to raise my child differently from being just a tiger mom. But I also work with a lot of people in the in theater community, because I also produce show. So sometimes, uh, when I bring on casts, okay, I also learned that it is good, instead of just directing and giving them orders, sometimes it's good to like listen to their feedbacks so that you can explore the whole production a little bit better and round up the whole pieces that you are trying to create. So I know it's
That's so
long-winded.
beautiful. No, that's beautiful, Joe Cam.
Thank
I
you.
think I think that's you know, seeing this side of you, this vulnerable side of you. I think it's really beautiful. Not that I mean, I super love
Yeah.
the wonderful woman on stage, but
Mm-mm.
you know, to see the side of you makes me realize why she's that wonderful woman on stage.
Correct. So if you can see, there is a definitely yin and
Yes,
yang to my
yes,
personality. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of guys, they want this, they want this, they want the tits out, bar and everything, and then they are with me, and then they realize there's another side of me that is like totally different. That's very motherly, very giving, very different from what they see, and they kind of like cannot, they don't know how to gel, trust me, you know.
yeah.
So even
It's
as
hard to
a
comprehend. Yeah.
person, yeah, it's hard to comprehend. It's like I want this, I want durian, but I'm getting an orange, you know, what's going on.
Fruit
and
salad.
and because, yeah, it's like, it's almost like this. And the best part is, when you become a success, if the guy, no matter what he is, if he's not confident in his own field, and even if he is, you know, to handle someone like me, it's, I would say I'm not hard to handle, but there are times where I play diva, you know, and you have to take the diva and this other Joanne together. Usually after a few drinks, like, you feed me whiskey, yeah, I got single malt, 12 years, Macallan, you know.
Now
This
I
is
know
Put
what
me.
that
to feed you when you visit in Bali. Single malt
let's
Kelly.
put that in the chat
I'm gonna
box.
write that
I'm
down.
gonna I'm gonna write that down right now.
Yeah.
And I
Bye
just
bye.
like to direct my beautiful ladies' attention to the participants' videos. Our best in question, Yan Yan, has shown his video. That's him. Joe Cam, do you see him?
Ah, finally.
What?
I honestly thought it was a small,
Oh,
petite
hi, Yan Yan.
Chinese girl called Yan Yan.
Wow, with a proper setup and everything. Look at that.
Oh,
She's
it's got a
a
proper
pro.
And
setup.
Janet. Hi,
Hi,
Janet.
Jada.
Oh, I don't know. Oh,
Okay.
hi.
Did you guys have any more questions? We're about 10 minutes until the end of this session, but do you guys have any questions for our panelists or the other way around?
Before we go, we must take a group picture together, Joyen. Martha,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
can you
Yeah.
screen capture something with all of us before we
Yeah,
go?
before we end. That's
Yeah,
right. Oh,
yeah.
there you go, Joe Cam. Thank you for sharing so generously and vulnerably. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay,
That's a
so
common like thing that you notice that I notice obviously when you have a public persona, right? And people are incredibly selfish in that they believe that that's literally the only thing that defines
yeah.
it. And I guess that's why I miss my dom friends so much, because they understand that there is a huge world. And I guess that's also why I don't have so many friends here, and why I'm very, very selective actually about who I have, because not many people, because a lot of people are really selfish. They don't really, when you have that image, when you have that perception of that powerful, like, whatever in the industry that you're in, then people are just projecting their needs, and they forget that you are human and that there's a story there that they will never fully understand. And it's hard. It's really hard to find people like that. And yeah, and my partners are submissives, and so there's a power play there that I can at least shelter myself in. But actually, in reality, people who really understand me are the people who do what I do, and that's all that I can really. That's where I am in my life, and I think it's where it might only be. But I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I think along the way, if like what you say, you have friends, and I
Hmm.
think even with me, I have fans, I
Hmm.
have friends, and then you have that close friends who have been with you from the start, who knows how ugly you look in the morning, who knows that sometimes it takes 3 corset for you to look this good, you know. Uh, who knows where you buy your wigs.
Yeah.
uh, and those are the ones that you can call at 5 in the morning and say, you're handcuffed to your bed, and they will come and
Bring
unlock it.
pizza.
Bring pizza.
That's the best.
Yeah, you don't need 100 friends. Sometimes you just need 10 who understands you, and that's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's
you need
beautiful.
fans so that they can PayPal.
It all boils down
PayPal.
to that.
I will
I guess
eat.
it's the. I guess
I
go
will,
ahead.
yeah, I say I will eat durian with this outfit for you if you pay in US
Oh,
dollars.
girl, that's nasty. That's nasty. Okay, I guess as a final question, not just for the lovely panelists, but also for the audience. Okay, and I'll type it in the chat box as well because I want people to read. Okay, what is the biggest joke of Asian sexuality?
Chinese men have small penis? Oh, uh, sorry. You asked for a joke, or what was the question again? Sorry.
Yes, that's right. What is the biggest joke of Asian sexuality?
Yeah, that's mine.
It's your biggest joke. The little joke. The big joke
The
about a
little.
little thing. Biggest joke about sexuality. I don't know. I don't know if I tell jokes. I just laugh at people.
That could be the joke. For the audience as well.
I
Okay.
guess
What
I
is
don't
the
know if
biggest
it's
dose
a
of
joke.
Asian sexuality for the audience? Yeah, tell us a joke and
No,
on
I
about Asian sexuality.
I think
Okay,
this is
I'll give you one more
definitely
about
Joanne.
Chinese men, even though I cannot say this in Australia because everything is like PC sensitive, and I
Mm.
cannot tell this joke in America because everyone's PC sensitive. But I can joke about it because I'm Chinese. So in my jokes, I always say I don't go out with Chinese men because Chinese men have very small cocks, right?
Mm.
But also, it's not about being small. It's also how you, of course,
Use it.
guys in the audience are like, it's not the length, it's not the size, it's how what you do with it. But if you look at Chinese culture, okay, you eat fast, you want to make money fast, and you fuck fast as well.
Economical.
Efficient?
If you're with a Chinese restaurant, you're in a Chinese restaurant, like they will clear the plate the minute they see nothing is on it. You could be like still munching your chicken wing, and they'll clear your plate because to them it's like you're done, and you're like, no, I'm still eating, leave it. Like 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 that's how fast Chinese people are. Like fast. You have to eat Chinese food while it's hot and fast. How many times have the Chinese parents tell you, like, you have to eat now because it's hot, eat faster. And you have to eat fast, they teach their children to eat fast. So naturally, if they're having sex, it's inbuilt. I'm sorry.
And
Oh.
similarly to that, in line with that, if you do it too often, if you eat too much, you get knocked out by the MSG.
Better don't charge Chinese by the minutes. Oh, but Chinese men are very good tippers. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah,
I
I
I, I
agree. I
know.
agree.
Yeah, you
I'm
let them
sorry.
objectify you, and then you just let them tip you.
Just let them pay you.
Just let
Did
them
Eva want to say something? Want to add
tip.
something?
No, this is definitely Joanne's specialty, area of specialty. Yeah. And just for the Chinese men in the audience, don't worry, I have done the research and I know not all of you are small.
Yeah, and I agree. They're big tippers. They've
Yeah,
got
they're
big tip
big
energy.
tippers.
Yeah,
Like
big tip energy. I'll write
I,
that.
I
Big
I
tip
had
energy.
I had one Chinese guy in Singapore for a corporate show because we were auctioning. He bought like 11 bottles of alcohol that was so expensive. He spent almost 50,000 Sing on alcohol. We're talking about limited edition, like whiskey, wine. you know, and yeah, fun is, and yeah, so big tippers, like don't worry, you know, Chinese guys, you have it, you have it, trust me, you have it, you have the car, you have your what do you
Sex,
call
money,
it,
power.
sex,
Sex,
money,
money,
power.
power.
It's okay if your dicks are small, you know, it's okay, I will respect that small dick. You
I
you
like
can't,
tongue.
yeah, tongue is good.
Clever
Tongue
tongue.
is good. Oh, here's the
Clever
thing.
tongue.
Yeah, clever tongue, clever tongue. Asian guys, please learn how to do tongue more. Yes, yes. Not that I'm comparing. Oh my God, I'm comparing now. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
you are.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I will be
So,
more lenient.
nah, you're good. So I guess, oh, we have somebody here
Hi,
popping up. Very, very
Janicia.
beautiful. Janisha, hi. You're so pretty.
Oh, it's pink. Are you in your own salon? Is that a salon? Is that a nail salon?
No, it's
Well,
not. It's a
I
studio.
could use that.
It looks like that, all right?
Oh, I like it. So I guess I'll just wrap up here a bit. We are 1 minute until closing time.
Mm.
I
Picture,
will try.
picture, picture. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes, I will never social media whore.
Yes.
So for everyone, I typed here in the chat box the Google Docs. In case you liked this session, please fill up the feedback form. And if you liked it even more, again, visit our tipping channels because that's how we get appreciated. Okay, that's our currency. All right. Did Janisha want to say anything before we end? Now that you're part of this little
Huddle.
triangle.
I thought it's really awesome. Thank you very much for taking your time to do the sharing. It's really very good.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Now we can take our
Oh,
picture. Let's put all of us in the middle. How do we do that? How do you do
oh,
that box? How do
Mistress Martha.
Martha,
I
can you
think
The
we
put
need
us
to
dungeon.
in
stop
a
the
box?
recording. So shall we
Okay.
stop the recording?
Yeah, I think we're done, guys. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Thank you,
coming.
everyone. Thank
Thank you.
you.